Hello, this is Lisa Huening of The Shifting Path. I would like to welcome you to What I Wish I Knew. In this audio series, I am talking to people who have been or are in a caregiving role for their family member. My guest is Lynda Haliburton. She will be sharing with us her experiences with hospice and the misunderstanding that most people have about it. Welcome, Lynda, and thank you so much for being here to share what you wish you knew.
Thank you for inviting me.
No, I'm glad to have you here. So tell me about your experience.
Well, first off, I want to mention, and so because it's true, that nobody can tell the future in advance. And the single most significant thing that I know we have control over is how we respond to things. And so information, though, is key. And my first thought when you asked me what I wish I knew was about the great benefit that hospice could have been to me and my family. My father, Lou, was diagnosed with prostate cancer 4 years ago, and we learned that, well, it's more than 4 years ago, but he passed away from it 4 years ago. We learned that he would not die necessarily from it, but that he could potentially live with it. And so we didn't realize how bad the disease could progress. We were kind of banking on him being able to function, like they said, with some measure of health. But in the last few months of his life, the disease got really bad. He couldn't eat. He had a horrible time with incontinence, and he was in pain most of the time. So near the end, my father's nurse, he had a home nurse that would come in and visit. She told him that he should probably put his affairs in order. Now, he was very good at hiding his pain. And so none of us we were kind of shocked to hear that, and we didn't really want to hear it. And so I knew about hospice. She kind of hinted around about hospice. But what I thought was that meant that we were resigning my father to die, and that they would come in and they would take over, and that he would not, it would be frightening, you know. And so I had a friend who is a caregiver professional, another friend, and she said she would tell us the things that he was experiencing as far as the behavior and the behaviors of those that are dying. And it was on point with what he was experiencing. But getting back to hospice, I just was dead against it because I thought wrong. So then we started operating in denial that, we could take care of him and we would do what he needed. But I learned since, as I went to a caregiver conference and heard a presentation about hospice, that I was really, really wrong. They not only support the person who's ill with hands-on care and medicinal monitoring, but they support the family by answering hard questions of how to prepare, how to cope with what's going on, how to respond to the behaviors and the physical changes of the person that is dying. And they even help after the person expires by contacting the funeral home. I didn't know that they did these very, very helpful, precious little things that will work with the family of the person who is terminal. And then I found out that it doesn't mean a death sentence. These people individuals are diagnosed as terminally ill, but depending on the disease and depending on a lot of different variables, they can function to the point where they can be taken off of hospice for a period of time. I thought once you were on, they would, again, come in gangbusters and just run things until the person died. And I didn't like that idea. But like I said, I was wrong. So being the point person in my family and rejecting the idea of even looking into hospice, I wound up having to deal with a lot of things, including grieving, that I did not have to deal with if I had the help of hospice. So that's pretty much my input about it. I'm very grateful to know now, but Lord, I wish I had known what I know now then, so that I would have been able to be I needed a hand-holding. I needed direction. I needed everybody to stop looking at me and asking me what's next.
Right. Instead of you being the main focus, you would have the chance to spend the time with your father and
Exactly.
go through the grieving process and be supported by others through hospice. And I'm so happy that you brought this up today, because many people look at hospice as being a death sentence. That word, is scary, but they don't realize the wonderful support services that can be given. And you brought up such a great point, the fact that people don't have, just because they start off with hospice, it doesn't mean they stay with hospice to the end. They might be able to then, be on their own with their family, if they are doing better, like you mentioned, recovering. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you being here today to share with others what you wish that you knew.
Well, I really hope that it helps someone to consider that you don't have to do everything yourself, that there is help out there. And I know, and I'm very grateful, Lisa, that you have this kind of service so that people can hear about it. Because, again, without knowledge, you don't have the opportunity to make a better choice for yourself. And so what I went through, I hope nobody has to go through. And as I'm taking care right now, I'm the caregiver for my mom, I'm very grateful to have that information in my mental file for someday. She's doing well, but if it was ever something that was necessary, even for other people, I would tell them, think about it, look into it, don't be afraid, just find out. Just find out about it. So thanks again for the opportunity to share.
Thank you.